The notification light on my phone pulses in the dark bedroom. Blue then nothing. Blue then nothing. Like a distant lighthouse warning of rocks ahead. It's 4:17 a.m. Daniel's side of the bed is still empty. I reach for the phone, expecting another text about a client emergency, another apology for missing dinner. Instead, there's a bank notification. Payment processed. $2,276 to Shoreline Properties, LLC. I don't recognize the name. We don't own property by any shoreline. The amount alone is nearly our monthly mortgage. I place the phone back on the nightstand, screen down. The ceiling fan makes slow circles above me, its chain clicking softly against the glass of the light fixture with each rotation. Click, click, click. This isn't the first strange transaction, but it's the largest. I hear the front door open downstairs. His careful footsteps trying not to wake me. The familiar rustle as he empties his pockets into the ceramic bowl on the entryway table. Then the sound of running water in the kitchen. When Daniel finally slides into bed 40 minutes later, I'm still awake, eyes closed, breathing measured. He smells of unfamiliar cologne and night air. As he settles into sleep, something crinkles in his pocket. I wait until his breathing deepens before I reach over. A folded receipt. The paper is thick, high quality, Harborview Hotel printed at the top. A 43 bar tab. 2 glasses of 18-year Macallan. Daniel doesn't drink scotch. I refold the receipt exactly as I found it, return it to his pocket, and lie back in the dark. The ceiling fan continues its slow circles. Click, click, click. Each sound like a door closing inside me. Our shared laptop sits open on the desk. Daniel is at work, real work as far as I know, at the architecture firm where he's been a partner for 11 years. Where we met, when I was hired to redesign their website. Where he proposed to me in the rooftop garden during the company Christmas party, snow falling around us like we were inside a snow globe. I remember thinking, this is the perfect moment, the perfect man. I never snooped before. Never had reason to. We built a life on mutual trust and transparency. But now I log into our joint account and scroll through the last 6 months of transactions. There it is, a pattern emerging like a constellation once you know which stars to connect. Shoreline Properties, LLC. 5 payments. Increasing amounts. The Harborview Hotel, twice monthly, always on Tuesdays. A jewelry store I've never received anything from. Airline tickets to places we've never gone together. My hands hover over the keyboard. I could confront him tonight. Demand explanations. But something deeper than instinct holds me back. Something calculated and cold that I didn't know lived inside me. If I'm going to understand the full scope of whatever this is, I need more than accusations. I need evidence. I need time. I open a private browser window and create a new email account. Then I search for the phone number of a private investigator. Mrs. Lawson? The woman who slides into the booth across from me doesn't match my mental image of a private investigator. Mira Chen is in her 50s. With stylish, gray-streaked hair and the polished look of someone who could be a museum curator or university dean. Her voice is low and efficient. Here's what we've found so far. She passes a thin folder across the table. You might want to read it in private. But I open it there, in the busy coffee shop, surrounded by the grinding of beans and morning conversations. Sometimes it's easier to absorb devastating news in public places. Less room to fall apart. Inside are photographs, screenshots, and neatly typed summaries. Daniel meeting a woman at the Harborview Hotel. The same woman, blonde, tall, younger than me by perhaps a decade, getting into his car outside an office building downtown. Copies of lease agreements for an apartment at Shoreline Properties. Both their names on the documents. Phone records. Text messages retrieved from the cloud backup of our shared account. He's been careful, Mira says quietly, but not careful enough. I close the folder. What about finances? That's where it gets complicated. She sips her coffee. There's money moving through accounts I haven't traced yet. More than his salary would explain. I think about the architecture firm. Client accounts? Investment funds. My stomach tightens. I need to know everything, I say. Not just the affair, everything. Mira studies me for a long moment, assessing. Then she nods. It'll take time, and it won't be cheap. I have time, I say, and whatever this costs, it's still less than the price of not knowing. I stand under the shower, letting the hot water pound against my shoulders. Steam billows around me like thoughts I can't contain. 3 weeks have passed since the receipt. 3 weeks of living with a man whose life runs parallel to mine, but no longer intersects. We still eat breakfast together, still kiss goodbye in the mornings, still discuss renovating the guest bathroom. The perfect performance of a marriage. Meanwhile, I've become someone else too. A woman who meets with private investigators, who opens separate bank accounts, who researches divorce attorneys and financial forensics. A woman who smiles at her husband while cataloging his lies. I shut off the water and reach for a towel. Through the bathroom door, I hear Daniel on the phone in our bedroom. His voice has the artificial brightness he uses for work calls. Absolutely. Yes, I can sign the paperwork tomorrow. No, it's not a problem at all. I wrap the towel around myself and press my ear against the door. She doesn't suspect anything. He continues. We've got time. The towel drops from my suddenly nerveless fingers. My skin prickles despite the steamy air. It's one thing to discover infidelity, another entirely to hear yourself discussed as an obstacle to be managed. I pick up the towel, wrap it around myself again. Open the bathroom door with a deliberate squeak of hinges. Daniel ends his call abruptly. Hey, babe. Good shower? Perfect, I say, smiling. Who was on the phone? Just work stuff. The Westlake project. He sets his phone down and stretches. Are you still okay with me going to that conference in Chicago next weekend? Chicago, another lie. The PI confirmed he's booked tickets to Miami. Of course. I cross to the closet, keeping my back to him. You've been working so hard lately. You deserve a break. That night, as he sleeps beside me, I make my first real decision. Whatever Daniel is planning, I have exactly 1 week until his Chicago trip to prepare my response. Based on what you've shown me, Mrs. Lawson, your husband isn't just having an affair. He's committing financial fraud. Elaine Bautista, the attorney recommended by Mira, speaks with the measured precision of someone who has seen every possible way a marriage can implode. Her office is minimalist, free of the family photos and personal touches that might suggest life outside these walls. The evidence indicates he's been diverting funds from his firm's client accounts through shell companies, then using that money to fund his other life. I study the documents spread across her desk. Bank statements, wire transfers, property records. The skeletal remains of my marriage. And you're certain of this? Financial forensics don't lie. People do. She taps a statement with a manicured nail. This matches the pattern of a classic embezzlement scheme. And given his position at the firm, he likely had access and authorization that wouldn't trigger immediate red flags. I think of Daniel's partners, people who became our friends, who attended our wedding, who invited us to their homes for dinner. What happens next? I ask. That depends on what you want. Elaine's eyes are sharp, evaluative. You could confront him, or you could report him to the authorities or his firm. Either way, once this comes to light, there will be serious legal consequences. For him. Potentially for both of you, if any assets or accounts are jointly held. Unless we can prove you had no knowledge or involvement. Which is why I'm here, documenting my discovery process, creating a paper trail of my innocence. There's a third option, Elaine continues. You secure your position first. Legally, financially, then you decide whether to be the one who brings this to light. Leverage, I say. Protection, she corrects. You didn't create this situation, but you need to survive it. I think about Daniel's voice on the phone. She doesn't suspect anything. We've got time. How quickly can we move? 3 days before Daniel's Chicago trip. The house is quiet except for the sound of my typing. I've waited until he's at one of his regular Tuesday meetings with his mistress. At least he's consistent in his scheduling. I check the time. I have approximately 3 hours. One by one, I move through the list Elaine prepared. Financial accounts. I've already transferred my personal savings to a new account at a different bank. Not everything, that would alert him, but enough to sustain me. Documents, birth certificate, passport, marriage certificate. Insurance policies. I scan copies of everything, upload them to a secure cloud drive, then return the originals exactly where they were. Evidence. I organize the files from Mira chronologically. The financial records, the photographs, the text messages, all safely backed up and shared with Elaine. Personal items. A small bag packed with irreplaceable things. My grandmother's locket. The first edition book my father gave me before he died. Enough clothes for a week, hidden in the trunk of my car. House. I walk through each room, photographing valuables, making notes of what was purchased when and by whom. Community property versus separate property. The vocabulary of division, it's methodical work, almost soothing. Each completed task another brick in the wall between the life I had and the one coming. The last item is the most difficult. I open our safe and remove the will we drafted together 5 years ago. The one that leaves everything to each other. The one that names Daniel as my medical proxy. The person authorized to make decisions if I can't speak for myself. I place it in a folder marked legal for Elaine to review and revise. As I close the safe, I notice something tucked behind our passports. A small velvet box I don't recognize. Inside is a pair of diamond earrings, far more expensive than anything Daniel has ever given me. For a moment, I allow myself to feel it all. The hurt, the betrayal, the rage that's been building beneath my careful planning. I hold the box in my palm, considering. Then I return it exactly as I found it, close the safe, and spin the dial. Some gifts aren't meant for me. Are you sure you don't want me to drive you to the airport? I ask, pouring coffee into Daniel's travel mug. The one with our initials entwined in the design, a gift for our 5th anniversary. No need, babe. The firm's car service is picking me up. He checks his watch, the vintage Omega I gave him last Christmas, spending nearly 3 months of my freelance income. Besides, the pickup is at 5 a.m. You should sleep in. If you insist. I hand him the travel mug, let my fingers brush against his. Call me when you land in Chicago? Of course. He kisses me, a quick peck that doesn't quite reach his eyes. It's just 4 days of boring presentations. I'll be home before you know it. I walk him to the door, stand in the frame as he loads his suitcase into the waiting town car. He waves once before sliding into the back seat. I wave back, the perfect picture of a supportive wife. Only after the car disappears around the corner do I close the door and press my back against it, exhaling slowly. 4 days. That's how long I have to execute everything we've planned. I take out my phone and send a single text to Elaine. He's gone. We can begin. Day 1. I sit in Elaine's office as she files emergency petitions with the court, freezing joint assets, securing temporary orders. Her paralegal notarizes document after document as I sign my name again and again. The timing works in our favor, Elaine explains. With him out of town, we can serve multiple notices before he's likely to check his email or get alerts. Day 1. Evening. I meet with Theodore Winters, the senior partner at Daniel's firm. His face ages 10 years as I lay out the evidence of Daniel's embezzlement. I wanted you to hear it from me first, I tell him, before the authorities, before it becomes public. Theodore removes his glasses, pinches the bridge of his nose. How long have you known? Not long enough to be complicit. Long enough to be certain. Day 2. I stand in an empty apartment, small, clean, with windows that face east. The rental agent hands me keys. 6th month lease, all utilities included, she says cheerfully. You can move in immediately. I look around at the blank walls, the bare floors, a canvas waiting for a new life to be painted onto it. It's perfect, I say, meaning it. Day 2, evening. I sit with Mira in her car, parked across from the Shoreline Properties building. We watch as police officers enter, followed by men and women in suits carrying briefcases and evidence bags. Financial Crimes Division, Mira explains. They move quickly once they have probable cause. And they have that? Thanks to the documentation we provided? Absolutely. Day 3. I meet with a forensic accountant who walks me through which transactions can be traced, which accounts remain uncontaminated by Daniel's fraud. You were smart to keep your freelance income separate, he tells me. That creates a cleaner division. Later, I visit the bank where Daniel and I opened our first joint account as newlyweds. The manager knew us as a couple. I close the account without explanation. Day 3, evening, I pack methodically. Not everything. Just what is undeniably mine. Clothes, books, the artwork I created. The furniture I brought from my apartment before we married. I leave his things untouched, precisely arranged. Let him return to the skeleton of our shared life. Day 4. I sit in our living room, his living room now, surrounded by packed boxes and empty spaces on the walls where my photographs once hung. I've ordered a moving service for tomorrow. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown Miami number. What have you done? I don't respond. Instead, I take off my wedding ring and place it on the coffee table, beside the folder containing copies of everything: the financial records, the affair, the evidence of fraud. On top, I leave a business card for Elaine Bautista, attorney at law. Some conversations don't require words. I stand on the small balcony of my new apartment, watching the sunset paint the city gold. 6 weeks have passed since I left our house. 6 weeks of legal proceedings, depositions, negotiations. Daniel was arrested at Miami International Airport, attempting to board a flight to a non-extradition country with his mistress and 2 suitcases of cash. The criminal charges, embezzlement, wire fraud, money laundering, ensure he won't practice architecture again. His partners have filed their own civil suit. I wasn't in court to see him. I made my statements through attorneys, provided my evidence through proper channels. Some confrontations are better handled at a distance. The divorce will be finalized next month. The terms are more favorable than I could have hoped for given the circumstances. Not that material things matter much now. What matters is the clean break. The fresh start. My phone rings. Elaine. Good news, she says without preamble. The firm has agreed not to pursue any claims against you. They're satisfied you had no knowledge or involvement in Daniel's activities. That's a relief. More than that, they've offered you a contract to rebuild their website. Apparently the old one has unfortunate associations now. I laugh, a genuine laugh that surprises me with its warmth. Rebuilding from the ashes. How appropriate. After we hang up, I remain on the balcony as darkness falls and the city lights begin to sparkle. My apartment is still sparsely furnished, just the essentials plus the few treasured pieces I brought from my previous life. But the empty spaces no longer feel like losses. They're possibilities. On the small table beside me sits my laptop, open to a new design project. My first commission as a solely independent contractor. The start of rebuilding my portfolio, my professional reputation. Below, on the street, people hurry home from work. Couples walk hand in hand. Delivery cyclists navigate between cars. Life continuing as it always does. I think about trust, how easily given, how painfully withdrawn. I think about the woman I was 3 months ago, sleeping beside a stranger and mistaking familiar habits for intimacy. But mostly, I think about the woman I am becoming. The one who discovered not just betrayal, but her own capacity for patient, clear-eyed action. For protecting herself when no one else would. I close my laptop and go inside, sliding the balcony door shut behind me. Tonight I'll order takeout, watch a film I've chosen myself, sleep in the center of my bed. Small pleasures that feel enormous now. Tomorrow, I'll continue building this new life, brick by careful brick, until the old one is just a story I once lived through. A chapter closed but not forgotten, because it taught me the most valuable lesson. Even after the worst betrayal, especially then, you can choose to become more fully yourself. Morning light streams through curtains I chose myself, warming the hardwood floors and illuminating the space I've carefully curated over the past year. My home now, not a temporary shelter or a transitional space, but a place that reflects only my tastes, my rhythms, my life. I sit at my desk, reviewing the final proofs for the book cover I've designed, my largest commission yet, for a renowned publishing house. My freelance business has expanded beyond website design to include brand identity work, editorial design, a growing client list of my own. My phone chimes with a calendar reminder, lunch with Mira. We've become friends, improbably. She jokes that I'm her success story. As I gather my things, I notice an email notification from Theodore Winters at the firm. The sentencing was this morning. 10 years. Thought you would want to know. I stare at the message, surprised by the absence of any strong emotion. No vindication. No lingering anger. Just acknowledgement of information. I type a brief reply thanking him, then close my laptop. On my way out, I pass the small table near my door where I keep my keys and mail. Beside them sits a stone I found on a solo hiking trip 3 months ago. Smooth, dark, with a single white line running through it. A reminder that even the hardest substances can contain unexpected beauty, that brokenness can become part of a new whole. I pick up my keys and close the door behind me, not bothering to lock it. Some habits from my old life have fallen away naturally. The constant vigilance, the preemptive worrying, the need to secure everything against unseen threats. Outside, the spring air carries the scent of new growth. I walk to the restaurant where Mira is waiting, moving at my own pace, on my own path, finally and completely free.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.